Hi there, Tony, and hello to everyone on the live stream. I am Chani at tarotmore.com, which is like the words tarot and more. And today I will be providing a reading for you, Tony, in regards to your nightmare loop that you talked about on Tumblr. And I was going to shuffle on camera for you guys, but I totally forgot my tripod at home, so I'm kind of using books right now to kind of show this to you. And anyway, for some of you, I'm going to get into the reading in just a minute, but for some of you, you may find that there's a particular message or something that just really speaks to you and feels really relevant to your life, and that's totally awesome and perfectly valid and a beautiful thing. But ultimately, this reading is for Tony, and we're exploring his dream today. And so the deck that I will be using is called Tarot of the Trees, and it's by Dana Driscoll. And Tony, I'll put the links for everything in the description of this video if you want to share anything with people. And so the way I did this for this reading is I pulled two cards. I chose these specifically as it's called significators, and so these are going to act as a focal point for the reading, and I'll get into those. And the last card here is I picked at random, and it represents more of the narrative of the dream. What's the nature of the nightmare loop, and what does it mean? What can we learn from it? So I'd like to start off, though, giving you guys my initial impressions after reading the Tumblr post, because I feel it ties into this. And Tony, what I kind of feel like for you is that you, when you're in this loop of this dream, I think what's going on, it's inspired by, obviously, the pitch that Jared made to you in regards to the one Groundhog Day type story. And I think where you're at with this is that you've talked about wanting to be scared. You want to experience the fear that you once did that inspired you to make videos on Black Box TV. And so I think where you're at, you're kind of in this midpoint of wanting to reclaim that, but at the same time, you don't want to go back to that place of just constant fear mode and always feeling like you're out of control, and just you don't want to be shit terrified all the time. But you're really want that inspiration and creativity back. And so I think when you're like trying to escape across the water, like the prison is like where you were. You don't want to go back there, but you want to take some of that experience with you, but you don't know how to integrate that into where you're headed. And I think more so than the fear, what you're really have lost is a part of your creative process. You've lost that inspiration. You've lost touch with something that really ignited you, and you're trying to reclaim that spark. And so you're trying to move to the opposite shore and kind of move forward, but you're missing your legs, man, and everything else. And I also feel like that maybe the doctors, what you're getting at with that is that because they were mocking you for not being able to wake up, and maybe what it is, you're really trying to dare yourself into doing something and to try to get that creativity back. And I feel like just ultimately you're just going through a loss with that. Also, I'm going to throw it out there that the dream and with this escape of the convicts, it does remind me of this escape attempt from Alcatraz. And it involved like 3 prisoners, and they made like dummy heads, I think, out of soap and toilet paper. I know. And so they put these heads in the bed and put stuff underneath the quilt, and they jerry-rigged this raft to try to get across the channel there from Alcatraz. But ultimately, we don't really know for sure what happened to them. Most likely they drowned, but they could have made it out. They could have escaped, and then they were never heard from again. And so I think with that, it's just the uncertainty principle with you, if we're going to have a tie-in here. And so it's just, again, you're kind of unsure of how to get back that fear, the fun that you've had with these darker elements, and use it in your creative process now. And certainly you're still creative and you're still inspired, but again, you've lost something that you once had. All right, so I'm going to, sorry, Chani, this is not going to be 3 to 5 minutes. So I'm going to get into the reading real quick. I'll try to make this short. So I pulled, for the first card I consciously chose, Tony, this is to represent you and kind of your role in the situation. For you in Black Box TV, I chose the star. The star is all about following the light, and that has been such a prevalent theme with Black Box TV, and with you, and that's where you're really trying to head. And I also want to throw out there, you're heading towards the light. You, Jarrett, everyone at Black Box TV is the light, and you really do shine for us. So that was part of the reason why I chose that. And the second reason that I went with the star is because when I've done readings, I've done a couple of times where I've been thinking about you in Black Box, and this card has shown up. And so I thought it was very synchronistic in that way. And I know your little shame baby is going, I'm not the light. I'm too weird. You guys are too nice. Seriously, whack that kid with a hammer and throw it down a well. It'll be fine. Just remind yourself, you really are that wonderful. You and everyone you work with, and what Black Box TV does is really that great. All right, so moving on to the next card. This one I posed to represent the nature, to represent the nightmare loop itself. So this kind of, or the reason I chose this is because this is called the Wheel of Year. It's also called the Wheel of Fortune in more standard decks. And it's all about cycles. And so we go through the different seasons here. And I wanted to throw this out there, Tony, that maybe this loop that you're in is really just a phase, and it's part of a larger cycle or journey. And it's kind of like being in a season, like winter, especially, I think, for a lot of people. It just feels like it never fucking ends. But eventually, you start to move on to another phase. So that's why I chose these two cards. And this last card, like I said, represents the nature of the dream, and what does it mean and what we can learn from it. So I'll try to keep this not too long. Ooh, okay, awesome. I'm going to flip this one around because I don't work with reversals too much. So we got the King of Cups. Okay, this is great. King of Cups is kind of like really taking charge of like your emotions and being able to channel it outwardly and really do something. It's kind of like your creative process. And so, Tony, I feel like ultimately for you, what this dream is for you trying to take hold of like all these things you're experiencing and feeling and trying to do something productive with it. And really fostering like new ideas and making it work with Black Box TV now. And like, so we have like some vines and a really strong tree. And I feel like that there's a real opportunity to create a solid foundation for something phenomenal. And with the cup inside the tree, I want you to remind you, Tony, that really these things are inside yourself. So any skills that you think you lack or whatever you have within inside of yourself, and if there's any like weaknesses, think about it as there's always opportunities to improve. And so I think you're going to eventually find that integration or that balance between being scared and being inspired, but not going back to that place of being shit terrified or in this rut where everything is dull. And really, I think you're just in a phase, and it's gonna move towards something better. And I apologize for the length of this video. This probably will not work for the live stream. Let me flip you guys around so you can see me. Hi. Again, I am Chani at tarotmore.com. Tony, sorry to rush through this, and I hope that was insightful for you, and I'm sorry this video is so fucking long. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I tried, man. I tried. Okay, bye guys.